out of town? How many of y'all are from out of town? What in the hell are you doing?
They're all here for Tim. Look at all the people who came to see us.
You did not do New Orleans correct if you're in from out of town and you're at this panel at 9 a.m. I'm sorry. You got to fix that tonight.
Good morning. How are you? Wait, good morning. Yes. How many lemon heads in the house? Elimination, brother. Thanks for doing this, Tim.
Why didn't you bring me any swag?
I could get you some swag. I know some people.
I'd like some swag. We're gonna start with this. Let's pull up the pants. Do you have an ankle bracelet? Ankle monitor? No? All right. That's a free man right there.
Not that I know of, but I did, I lotioned.
That is a free man.
Yeah.
Boy, that had to be pretty fucking weird. Getting arrested.
Can I tell you something weird? So yesterday, I'm sitting in the hotel room here, and I did my show from the room.
Yeah.
And after the show, I look up and I had MS Now on, which you appear on, and Ali Belshi had the president's sort of enemies list up there with all the people who he had targeted,
arrest and failed.
and then it had Don Lemon indicted. I was like, why am I up there? This is weird. I'm like up there with like Tish James. Like it's weird.
So, like, did they give you a heads up? Like, were you in your underwear? Like, what happened?
No heads up.
No heads up.
No, and look, I can, just so you guys know, how are you? I can only talk about what's public. I can't discuss much of the details of whatever, but anything that's out there, I don't mind talking about it.
And we can talk a little bit about the prison food. That's not public.
Yeah, you can ask me whatever you want. But the thing is that, I had heard them, excuse me, my voice is changing this morning. I'd heard them talk about, they were on TV right after it happened, and saying, Don Lemon, Don Lemon, Don Lemon. And so I got an attorney. And my attorney sent them a letter saying, if you're serious, then hey, we're ready. Let him self-report, turn himself in.
Yeah.
Never heard back from them. And so the idea, the motivation is to embarrass you.
Yeah.
Right? And as I said when I was released from the pokey, the process is the punishment. That's what they want to do. They want to embarrass you. They want to take you through, but they want to diminish your finances, diminish your ability to be able to make money, your credibility, your reputation, all of that. It's really maniacal.
So how long were you in there? Like I've only been in one time.
Wait, what'd you do?
Well, I had a minor in possession of alcohol when I was 18, and then I didn't go to the classes. And then I got a traffic arrest in Vail. And they were like, you have a warrant out for your arrest because you didn't go to your alcohol classes. So I was in the Vail count.
I should be interviewing you, Tim.
I was in there for about 3 hours, and I got a T-shirt out of it. I still have it. It has the elevation on it.
Yeah.
The Vail jail's not exactly where the heavy hitters are. So I was okay. But what was your experience like?
It was, I was in there overnight. I think it was from about midnight to, about full 12 hours, 11, 12 hours.
Yeah.
Midnight to, I think, noon the next day. Yeah.
That's like by yourself? Or?
Yeah, but I was in
Did you make some friends? Steve Bannon made some jail friends.
No, I did not make any jail friends. I was in a holding room.
Yeah.
Never like an official cell, luckily. But I will tell you that the folks who, not the people who arrested me, they were jerks.
Yeah.
But the people who were in charge of me and when they're in the holding part of it and processing, they could not have been kinder. And
I had the same experience in Vail.
You did? You had the same experience?
In Vail, yeah.
Yeah,
The cop was mean, but the...
So look, I know we talk a lot about federal agents and all of that, but those guys, there are career professionals who work for the Department of Homeland Security who are not the goons who are out there with 47 days experience robbing people of their due process rights. Two different people. And they don't like being associated with those people.
You can tell, and we've talked about this a little bit, I'm interested in your view, that I'm of multiple minds about this, but your situation, but also everybody's. Jim Comey's and Tish James, everybody on the list that you saw in MS Now. On the one hand, I'm angry because it's un-American and it's horrible, and you deserve to be upset at them. On the other hand, I kind of want to mock them because it's been so ham-handed. I mean, like they came in with like, we have an enemies list, and they've unsuccessfully jailed a single enemy. You know,
Right.
Barack Obama walks free, you walk free. Tim Walz walks free. The sandwich man walks free. Like, they're struggling.
Yeah.
And so on the one hand, I think it's better to mock them. But on the other hand, like you're saying, the process is the penalty, and it's wrong. And I'm just wondering how you process that.
Well, I'm sitting here now, looking back with the perspective that I have now. We can joke about it a little because, as I said, I'm not going to let them steal my joy. I'm from Louisiana. I grew up in a very churchy household. Right? When we talk about New Orleans, we say down the road because it's south. Right up the road from Baton Rouge, or as we say, Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
From
BR.
growing up, going to, everybody goes to the Catholic school. Like when I was growing up, back in the late 60s, early 70s.
No.
Yeah.
1960s?
I just turned 60.
Really?
Yes.
You look great.
Thank you. I know. It's all genetics. Because the shit that I've been through in the last...
Maybe 90.
My forehead still moves, baby, sorry. Tim, you know what they say, I'm trying not to say it. Black don't crack.
I was trying to get you to say it.
But here's the thing, good beige don't age either. And so, stay out of the sun.
No problem.
I'm just saying, but, so I'm not gonna let them steal my joy. I grew up with faith, from a very faithful family, and I'm not churchy. You asked me the first thing, you said, did you go to church? Do you still go to church? And I said, yeah, the last time they tried to arrest me.
Yeah.
The last time they arrested me for going to church.
Yeah.
But I can joke about it now somewhat, but these are very serious charges. These are federal charges. And like conspiracy for, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
But yeah, it's,
And
what perspective did I gain?
Yeah.
Is that they are maniacal, and I believe that they are not patriots. I believe that they don't believe in the Constitution. They don't believe in the Bill of Rights, because otherwise they would not be conducting themselves in the way that they are, and they would not be going after someone who you consider your political rival. And you're right, they're not having much success, if any, in any of this. It's a waste of resources. It's a waste of your tax dollars for the number of people who came to arrest me and Georgia Fort and all of the other people, even in different countries. These folks could have turned themselves in and saved you a hell of a lot of money, and it wouldn't be all the hoopla. But first of all, why are they doing it anyways,
Yeah, I like to mock them, so I want to start with that.
Go for it.
Because they still haven't jailed anybody, which is pretty tough for them. Zero for. They haven't jailed anybody for the 2020 election theft, I've noticed, either.
The one that was stolen?
Yeah, you'd think they'd be able to find the culprit by now. Cash has been on that.
I know.
But we'll see. We're
But
still waiting.
Cash is busy. He's got locker rooms to do beer.
He does. Got to go see his girlfriend sing at semi-pro wrestling matches on our plane. Here are the serious parts. So you're talking about the resources, and that is serious, the waste of tax dollars. But it's also like this is federal law enforcement. There's real shit to be worried about. We've got a war now, which we're about to start talking about. But obviously we have domestic terror threats. We've seen that over the course of the past week. We've got a lot of people who are experts who've either been fired or quit because they don't want to work for these guys, or who are being redeployed to do perimeter work outside the Home Depot. And that's happening at the prosecutor level, at the agent level, at the FBI level, and that, you have to believe that there are real consequences to that at some point. These people do real jobs.
These people do.
They're supposed to. They're used to, at least.
They do real jobs, and that's what I mean. They're not patriots, and they don't believe in the Constitution, because these people are career professionals. You see the brain drain that's going on at all of these agencies. They are attacking very important systems and agencies and institutions in this country. So yes, there's a real consequence. But let's just think about it on a human level, that you have worked your entire life to do the right thing because you do love this country, and you are serving your country in a different way than the military, but you're still serving your country. And then all of a sudden you have this lawless administration, or regime as I like to call it. I don't like to call it an administration. You have them come in, and there are people who are there, I just spoke to a friend last night, who have been there for a while, working for the government and working in these institutions. And maybe they have 2-3 years left. right?
What am I
And
supposed
they're
to
like,
do?
I'm a couple years away from retirement. I can't change my career at this point. And all they just want to do is hang on. And all of these bogus bullshit indictments and all this stuff, their names are on those things, and they're like, I hope nobody notices that.
Yeah, everybody had to quit in Minneapolis, and like they don't even have prosecutors there. Like they tried to go after Renee Good's spouse. They're trying to go after a lot of people quit. I got friends who are prosecutors in different
They quit.
Other places like this, and they're just like trying to keep their head down. I don't want to say what district they're in, because they're just
Yeah.
like, I hope that nothing happens where I live, so I can just survive this and do my job of prosecuting actual criminals.
But you know what they're doing is they just keep prolonging these cases because they don't have the resources to fight to adjudicate them or whatever it is.
Or the facts.
Or the
They don't have the
or the
resources
facts.
or the facts.
But it doesn't matter.
People are going down looking around Georgia, searching around for the ballots. I mean, those are all people that should be doing real work.
Should be doing real work. And should I just say it?
Let's do it.
How can you have someone who is mentioned and who is accused of some very untoward things in the Epstein files and still not be brought into question, to be questioned, when there are heads of state in other countries who have lost their positions, who have faced consequences simply for the association, right? And
It's
not
worse
even,
than that, actually. Yeah, we've got people who work for the government actively covering up. Like the Pam Bondi basically was like, you have to give me a share file of all the times that
Yeah.
the president and cabinet members are mentioned in here. And
Have you noticed how quiet she's been lately?
Yeah, where is she? The other thing what you're saying about them not being patriots is like these are our fun. This is where my old Republican comes out. Democrats care. You all care about the Constitution too, the Democrats. But I had a pocket Constitution before I was arrested in Vail. I went through a pocket Constitution phase in high school, then a troublemaking phase, and then I came back around. Look, man, they went after you for your First Amendment. You're exercising your First Amendment right. Alex Preddy and Renee Good are exercising their First Amendment right. Alex Preddy's exercising his Second Amendment right to carry that firearm. Multiple people have been exercising their Fourth Amendment right to not have their houses or cars or whatever infringed upon. Like these guys are trampling over the basic fundamental rights in this country. Luckily for you, it was just one night in jail, but like, look what happened to Alex Preddy.
Yeah. And Alex and Renee and Keith Porter, right, in California. I mean, it has real life or death consequences. And here's the hypocrisy and the irony of it all. We're in Iran, supposedly. This is one of the 10, maybe 25 excuses. Okay, hundreds of excuses that they've given to justify
Which one?
This unjustifiable war.
The protesters?
Yeah.
The protesters?
I'm going with the protesters. They said, because they shoot protesters. And I was like, we do too in America. And, Maduro. Well, he tried to steal an election. I said, so did you. So what happens if another country wants to come and arrest our leader for doing things that are unlawful? They have set a precedent to do
Mark
that.
Carney. Looking at you, Emmanuel Macron.
Yeah.
Let's send some French legionnaires in here in this bit.
But think about it. Think about this, Tim. You have that, and then you have them saying, Pete Hegseth saying, well, this is how the headlines should be written. This is how the news should go. Meaning,
what happens when you put a Fox and Friends co-host in the Department of War?
When he doesn't realize that's not how the media actually operates like Fox News. We don't just put shit on the screen just because that's how we want it to be. It has to be factual, so he doesn't understand that. But the fact that he thinks that it should be state-run media, don't you find that hypocritical? Because that's exactly what we're supposed to be fighting against Iran. That's why we're in this war with Iran, is because they have state-run media. They don't have a free press. People don't have rights in the Constitution as we do. It's a First Amendment. And so he's saying, hey, look, this is how the press should only write favorable things about this administration and the war. It's outrageous.
Yeah, let's talk about, well, I want to talk about the meta conversation about the press covering the war, but I guess before we do, just on the actual war itself, I mean, did you get as caught off guard as me? But I thought that I have a pretty low regard for Trump. I don't know if you know that. So like I expect him to make a lot of bad decisions when he got back in. I expected him to be corrupt. I expected it to be a shit show. I kind of didn't. I thought this was the one thing that I was like, I don't think he's going to do this. I don't think he's going to get us into a stupid Middle East war. And it was the fundamental case that he made against my candidates back in 2016 that he wasn't going to do that. And I've kind of been blown away.
That he did this?
That he's doing it. You're not?
Tim.
And I'm just saying, if you're not meeting my expectations as Trump, it's like it's really ugly.
When did you think he wasn't going to do it? It wasn't the time where he changed the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War? And you're supposed to be a peacetime president, and we're going to get you out of it. Every accusation is a confession. You know that. And so the bar is in hell for this administration.
Yeah.
And so I'm not surprised about that. And this is coming from someone, did you know that I was a Republican in college? I was a young Republican.
No.
Yes. At LSU. Yeah, I was at LSU. It was the 80s. Everybody was doing it.
Just Reagan maxing and cocaine.
It was
at LSU for Don Lemon.
And ecstasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
But then honestly, I grew up and I realized political parties are kind of BS.
Yeah. The coverage of this though. Look, I'm looking at your old network and. There's a lot of people doing good work, so I don't want to impugn with a broad brush, and I do think that actually before we do a little media criticism, let's acknowledge something. There's one limitation to what we're doing in independent media is the Bulwark doesn't have a Tehran bureau,
Yeah.
we don't got the Lemon heads don't have somebody on the ground in Beirut, we can do what we can do, we can try to find people. In the moments to hire, or bring in experts, all that kind of stuff, right?
But we do bring folks in.
Yeah.
Journalists.
Yeah, of course, we do. But you need institutions that have the money and the resources and the expertise to do that kind of stuff.
And no one does it better than CNN.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people doing good work at CNN, so I want to acknowledge that. Okay. But now it does feel like there is this sense that they have to you got to hand it to the administration sometimes, right? That the panel can't that people covering the news can't just be blunt about what this is, which is it's a corrupt war, it's a stupid war. There's no point. They have not offered any rationale for it, and so underneath that, just because they did some impressive bombings, that doesn't, what is who cares, right? And I think that, and just because God loved the Iranian diaspora people, but just because they're happy. Does not take away the fact that this war was, brought illegally and on false pretenses. Yeah. And so I just don't know if they're capable of doing it in the old institutions. There's this old habits. There's still some sniffs of how they would have covered the shit in the 90s.
Well, I will say it's what you said. Yeah. It's right. You're 100% right. And I say it all the time. I don't know if you're watching, but I say it all the time. But I have. I think I have a bit more experience in corporate media than you do as someone who was a primetime host. I was there for almost 17 years, and then NBC before that. And can you believe I worked at Fox before it was Fox News? I worked at a Fox station in New York that was a Fox O&O station, and it was called the Fox News Exchange. It was all the local stations that were owned by Rupert Murdoch and those guys. And so we would all get together and file reports, and it would go into this big batch, and it would go out to all the Fox stations. This was before Fox News. And so, anyway, I have a long history with corporate media, and you're right. It's hard to turn that ship around because they think that's the way it should be done. They also think, mistakenly, that they're going to gain an audience by trying to move a network into a certain direction, and these days it's to move it to the right because they believe that audience is going to come to them. Because I was speaking to Kevin O'Leary the other night, and he said, well, CNN they've got to come to the middles to gain more audience. I was like, you're out of your mind. That's never going to happen. Are you crazy? I was like, those folks are never, ever going to watch CNN, and they're never going to watch any network that is a factual news organization. So that's never going to happen. So they think that they have to get people.
Can I give you an anecdote on this?
Yes, but hang on. Can I finish my thought? So they think that they're going to get people who they'll have a conversation and pretend like, well, let's pretend this side is equal to that side, and you got to give it to the administration. When the conversation should be, this is all bullshit. There's no rationalization. They didn't do it. And why are you inviting these people on who are election deniers and insurrection deniers and people who are lying and coming on just to insult people, people who are bigots and misogynists? Why are you giving them an equal platform as people who are speaking the truth? So you're right. And that habit is being broken, and people have stopped watching because they see through the facade.
Yeah, and people are going to say a different thing on TV than they do in the green room. Like, this is like...
All the time.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
I know.
I hate this guy. He's crazy. He's out of his mind. He can never be our nominee. And you get on camera and it's like, I love him. And I'm like, what? Who are you?
Yeah, I know. No, this is a hard thing because I've been wanting to have people that are at least, aren't quite as TDS filled as me on the podcast. I'm in the James Carville camp. I want the TDS to rain down on me from the heavens.
Do you have TDS, you think?
I do. No, I think that I see him clearly. I don't
think you do.
Thank you, Don. But I'm trying to bring on people that we're all wrong sometimes. I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing. But it's hard. I finally had a guy on this week I've been trying to get on who has this podcast on Breaking Points, who's a MAGA guy, who has a lot of terrible views and some of the things you just laid out. He has some of those sins. But, at least he is saying what he really thinks, which is the Iran war is stupid and Trump is covering up the Epstein files, right? He has some pretty hard views on immigration, but then at least we can kind of hash those out because I know you're not BSing. That's not what CNN's doing.
No.
They're not having those people on.
No.
They're having people come on that just no matter what Trump does, they'll say that it's great, even if they think it's stupid. And that's not news.
That's kind of their jobs there. It's like we need someone, and that's at every network. We need someone who's on the right, except for Fox. Do they have any liberal?
Well, they got my girl Jessica Tarloff. Yeah.
Except for Jessica, I love her.
And Harold Ford Jr., your man Harold Ford Jr.
Yeah. But Harold's pretty moderate. I think you need, because that, no shade to Harold, I love him, but he's pretty moderate. But when you have a network that is that dedicated to carrying the water for the right, you need someone on the left who's that dedicated, right? Yeah. And that's what they feel that they have, most networks feel that they have to do that.
Yeah.
I think you should just get smart people who are living in reality, and rather than someone who's just going to be like, well, the president is always right, and then make faces and laugh at the other, people on the panel who are actually smarter than they are.
Here's some real talk. Are you ready?
Yes.
This? There's just no market for highbrow right-wing news. The viewers aren't there. Can I tell you how I know this for sure?
Yeah.
We could have a third person on this stage if we wanted to, and he could answer this, and that's Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Because when Tucker started the Daily Caller 15 years ago now, do you know what his stated goal was for it?
What?
He wanted to do the New York Times of the right. They were going to do investigative journalism, real news, but from a right-wing perspective. That did not do very well because there was no market for that. And so what ended up happening is the Daily Caller did hot girls and conspiracy theories, and now Tucker Carlson thinks that Churchill was the bad guy in World War II, right? We saw the whole pipeline. And you know who's doing really well? Tucker Carlson's podcast. And do you know what's not doing very well? The National Review. And so there just isn't a market for it. So
maybe is the Daily Caller? I have no idea.
It's still around, but
it's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem with, let's talk about the Ellisons in this merger. I mean, the Secretary of War literally said yesterday that he can't wait for CNN to get David Ellison in, which is insane. That's the government, the head of our military, saying that he's excited for a new propaganda network to come in.
State-run media. That's what That's what I said. But Pete Hegseth wants state-run media. This administration wants state-run media. Why do you think they're going after journalists? Why do you think they're going after, I forget Miss Nathanson's first name, is it Renee from the Washington Post, where they raided her house and took her phone? Why do you think they're doing that?
Yeah.
So, they want state-run media. But I have to say, it's obvious that this is what the administration wants. This is what MAGA wants, right? Which means anyone who's supporting Donald Trump is MAGA, meaning the Ellisons and all that. Yeah. But I have to blame the networks themselves and the corporate overlords and the companies that own them, because they are the ones, the gatekeepers, because they are the ones who are bending the knee. The journalists don't own anything except for this and what they say, and some of what they say can get them fired. And so it's the gatekeepers. Why do you think we're doing so well in independent? Because we don't have gatekeepers.
Right.
So I blame them. And I mean, I have to blame even the people who are working inside of the news organizations now, who are managers and supervisors and whatever, the head of the network, because they allowed this to happen. They did not push back against the corporation and say, stay out of our business. We are journalists, the way people did, the Phil Griffins of the world, the Jeff Zuckers of the world, who said, this is news, this is journalism, do your other things. And then, and those networks were much more successful when they did that.
Do you ever think to yourself, what in the hell would I be doing right now if I was still on 9 p.m. on CNN and the sale was happening? Do you ever think about that?
Hallelujah. I think about it and I was like, this is a blessing in disguise. When my friend called me and said, Don, if I open the dictionary that says, timing and lucky, blessing in disguise, your picture is in there. Can you imagine being there right now?
That's what I'm asking you.
I can't imagine. If I were there right now, I would have been fired for cause.
Yeah.
Because I probably would have cussed some people out, or
you don't miss the makeup people and the travel budget?
No.
No.
No, because I mean, no, I don't miss the makeup people. I love those guys. I mean, do I miss them as people?
Sure.
Yes, but I don't miss putting makeup on because you don't need it. Have you ever worn makeup on your show?
No.
No, I've never, unless I'm coming back from like.
Sometimes with the hangover, I'll do a little under eye.
I don't do that. I'll come on and say, hey, everybody, good morning, because I do live. I'm like, I'm a little hungover. And I just tell them, right? I went out last night and had a little too many, and I get on with the news. People don't like the artifice anymore. So, no, I can't imagine.
You don't think, like, what if we have president, I don't know, AOC in 2029, and these corporate overlords are like, oh, shit, we got to tack back, and they called you and were like, I want to give you a primetime show again? What would you?
If they gave me a Rachel Maddow deal. To work, where I get to do what I want and work like one night a week for the most part, and then come in on the big stories. From New Orleans.
Studio here.
Sitting on the balcony on like Bourbon Street or something. So maybe I would do it. But I will say that I worked with the best journalists. I'm talking about the corporate overlords. The best journalists in the world at CNN. And there are journalists, as you know, doing really great things, especially in a war zone. And when I said that no one does it better than CNN, I'm not necessarily talking about their domestic product. I'm not a real fan of it right now. But internationally, there's no one doing it better. Clarissa Ward and all of the folks who are overseas. Gosh, who's my, I can't remember his name. Why can't I'm having a senior moment? But who is in Iran right now on safe passage? Frederick Pleiken, doing great job.
Thinking about like kind of the inverse of you, good timing. How about the worst timing possible to take over a news network and install people that are unapologetic warmongers? Not great over at CBS. You know, it's like this isn't real. Like when like literally 2 weeks before the president started, I mean, I have to. I was about to say the stupidest war that I can, of my lifetime. I guess Iraq. There's some conversation there. At least they made the case for Iraq. I mean, hell, half the Democrats in the Senate voted for Iraq. Like in this case, it's totally pointless. Like a completely pointless war, no rationale, and that is right at the moment that CBS has put in people that are like, hell yeah.
Well, that's why I said it's kind of their own fault, because I think CBS and other networks are bringing about their own demise because they are bending the knee, and what you're supposed to be doing is fighting back, even against the people who own the corporations. And if those people were actually patriots and they understood the Constitution, the First Amendment, and the Bill of Rights, they would not be doing what they're doing. But I will say, and I think you can applaud if you want to, but I will say, okay, no one? Please clap. That's not what I was saying. That was a joke.
That please clap moment was so taken out of context. For another time.
That was you, right?
No, it was funny.
You were there.
No, it was actually Parker's fault. We'll do it in the green room.
Okay.
It was fine. Everybody in the room thought it was normal.
But I have been informed by some smart people when I say that they're going to bring about their own demise. I think CBS News might possibly go away. And I think that
I agree with that.
CNN will absorb that, and then it'll basically be CNN, and then CBS will be no longer.
I think that's very possible too. Just one more on the war, just like why they want the disinformation, like back to the substance of it, right? And we have this bombing of the girls' school. luckily is absolutely the wrong word, but because it was so obviously us, they haven't gotten away with it, I guess is the way that I'm trying to put it, right? Like they were going to try to say that Iran did it.
Oh,
I mean,
they're still trying to say that Iran.
yeah, I know, but it's extremely ham-handed. You know, I mean, like at this point we have video of the tomahawks, and it's like even some people on Fox are like, oh, it seems like this is us actually. But the president is trying to say that it wasn't us still. You know, some of his biggest advocates and commentators are still trying to say we don't know for sure. It's insane, you know, that a government, you know, it's North Korea type behavior for the president of this country just to lie to our face about the fact that we wrongly killed a bunch of girls as part of this illegal war. And, you know, but we don't really, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that is a serious crime, but like, we also don't know exactly what's been happening with the other people who are injured. Like, we know the number of fatalities that we have in this war, American fatalities, but there's a lot we don't know because they're lying and they're hiding it from us to a degree that like is unusual. It's not old style type spin that we've seen from past administrations. Like, they're just lying and covering things up.
Well, look, you've got Minnesota, and you've got, you know, Alex Preddy and Renee Good, and, you know, and Keith Porter, but then you have 175 girls. So the lying and the covering up and not allowing the investigations to happen, we've seen that. We know that it happened in Minnesota and other places. And the cover-up, and the cover-up is not, it can be worse than the crime, but this is pretty bad.
Yeah.
What happened to that girls' school is an atrocity. It should be investigated as a possible war crime. And we should be investigating how it happened. If it had anything to do with intelligence, there's possibly, reportedly, an anthropic connection, and you know what the defense secretary or the secretary of war or whatever it is, what he signed and deals or whatever that happened before that happened. And so I think this is something that they will not be able to get away with.
Yeah.
And if there is a military tribunal or a war crime or whatever, I think that some people in our government, and in possibly the military, but mostly in the government, they're going to face some consequences for it.
Yeah, I hope so eventually.
Because imagine if that had happened in anywhere else in the world. And we know that in other places that they don't have Tomahawk missiles. And if they do, either we sold them to them, or the fact that they got them should be concerning to us. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on there.
And look, in wars, mistakes happen, right? People die. That's why we should have serious people in charge. That's why you should be judicious about deciding if we're going to use violence, right? In the past, in this country, I don't want to glorify the past of America. Like, we've done a lot of terrible things in various conflicts. Like, even going back to Iraq, right? Like, think about Abu Ghraib. There were internal people who blew the whistle on that, right? Scott McClellan, who was the spokesperson, who was the Kayleigh McEnany for, or I guess it's not Kayleigh anymore. I'm mixing my blondes. I'm mixing my blondes.
Caroline Leavitt.
Caroline Leavitt. It's early. I'm mixing my blondes, my MAGA blondes up. He was the Caroline Leavitt.
I mean, it's kind of crazy, the MAGA. Have you seen the MAGA makeover?
Face. Yeah. It's a look. It's a look.
It's a,
you know?
It's a little cultish and a little, what do you call them?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
It's not as cultish as the shoes. Now, the men have to wear the same shoes, and the ladies have to have the same lips.
Was it Florsheim?
It's strange.
It's Florsheim, right?
It's Florsheim.
Donald Trump just discovered Florsheim? Like, where's it? But, I mean, you're not old enough to remember Tom McGann. Do you remember Tom McGann? Anybody remember Tom McGann? Anybody remember, was it Paul Parrott shoes, like penny loafers? I mean, I'm old enough to remember, but I mean, he just discovered Florsheim shoes?
We're going to get back to the point. This was an important point, but while we're here.
But they're all wearing them, which is frightening.
And it's like the psychological torment it must be. Like, think about how submissive you have to be to walk around in shoes that don't fit.
Yeah.
To make your boss happy.
Yeah.
Like, that is, like, you're the Secretary of State, and you're walking around in clown shoes. Your foot is sliding around. And like, you've got to have serious meetings, and you're like, man, I have blisters, and it's like, I'm doing this because the boss is making me.
You know why they don't fit?
Because he lied about his size. He wanted the boss to think he had bigger feet.
I didn't think about it, but let's hold that thought. Because they're not wearing the right socks. They should be wearing some compression socks.
Okay.
And it would make it a little thicker, and maybe they would fit because, you know, along with the shoes go the cankles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll tell Marco
So
about
they
that.
put that, but I mean, Donald Trump is obsessed with size. Donald Trump, shoe size.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is the gayest president I think that we've had. And he talks about it all the time. He's like, oh, and these guys, they were straight out of Central Casting. They were so handsome, you know, built. And I'm like,
He would
Dude.
dominate me in Broadway trivia. Like he would run circles around me in Broadway trivia.
he's,
The makeup.
it's the gayest thing I've,
Yeah.
I'm like,
And another thing, back to the Mar-a-Lago face. I promise you we're going to come back to Scott McClellan. On the Mar-a-Lago face, they look like drag queens.
Yeah.
too. It's like the aesthetic is of drag queen aesthetic. You know, the big lips, the big lashes, the
everything.
big makeup.
It's very, but it's also very like showbiz, Broadway,
Yeah.
right? But it is like
It's
drag
gay.
queens. But you know, I have friends who are in media, and they say I learned how to do my makeup for drag queens because drag queens know how to paint on a whole
Oh, yeah.
face, and they can show you how to work some makeup. And so
Yeah.
I think the Mar-a-Lago folks, but
A lot of people with whole new faces.
yeah,
now,
but look,
too,
I
so.
don't no insult to drag queens. It has become clownish
drag
for these women though now with the Mar-a-Lago face. They look like clowns.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen what was the one Don Jr.'s ex-girlfriend? Like,
Kim?
wow. Wow.
Yeah, I
and
never
Kristi
look-
Noem has a whole new
Yeah,
face.
I'm pro plastic surgery. Look, people got to do whatever they want to do to make themselves feel good. I'm pro it. If you want to do gender affirming care, that's fine with me. But I do think it's a strange.
Well, I'm not talking about plastic surgery. I'm talking about just the makeup. I don't know what surgery they've
There's
had.
some surgery happening. I think it's a strange thing to decide. I want to wake up one day and look in the mirror and have a whole new face. Like my friends from high school don't even recognize me anymore because I have a whole new face. There's a compulsion there.
You know what though? If you did what they did, you
Yeah.
probably couldn't look at yourself in the mirror either. And
That's
so,
a good point.
So
Especially Kristi
you've got to
fucking Noem.
change your face in order to be able to.
Especially
stare at
Kristi
that.
Noem. Can you believe this woman went down to El Salvador to a foreign gulag and did a pinup girl snuff photo in front of people that we had wrongly sent there?
Yeah.
It turned out to actually not be. That's what it was the Salvadorans that she was in front of. But like we sent these Venezuelans who did nothing based
Yeah.
on their tattoos, who came to this country fleeing communism. Speaking of your Reagan maxing from the 80s, these
Yeah.
people were fleeing communism, looking for freedom, coming to the shining city on the hill. We grabbed them and said, no, we're going to send you to a gulag in El Salvador, and we're going to have our stone-faced Secretary of Homeland Security do a fucking photo shoot in front of you, like you're animals. It's sick.
That's
She's a
serious.
sick
but
person.
It is. It is sick, and she could have used the makeup artist that you interviewed to help
Yeah,
her.
Andre,
because he would have helped her out. But
Yeah.
I mean, imagine what these people had to go through, or still are going through, and many of them, the people that they have rounded up, are U.S. citizens, by the way.
Yeah, some of them.
Right, and some of them have been. Some U.S. citizens have been shipped off to places or in detention for no reason.
Yeah.
And from the very beginning, I went to Chicago in the early part of this, and I started interviewing people, and they're like, Don, I'm a U.S. citizen. I was born here in Chicago. I had my birth certificate and all this stuff in the house, and they didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
And so you have that, and you have Kristi Noem standing in front of that jail cell with the shaved heads and the prison outfits. For what? For a show. But you know, karma's a bitch. And every dog has its day, and sometimes two. And I think that they are all, again, I think that they're all going to suffer some consequences. When, as you know, you're more political, you have more political history, or you have a better political resume than I do. But every administration thinks that, you know, that they're going to be there forever. They're going to be in power forever.
Yeah.
And they forget that it's going to be over one day. Look at, you know, the Reagan era. Everybody, oh, the Republicans were great. And then it was over.
Yeah.
Right? And then you look at the Clinton era. Oh, this is great. And then it was over.
Yeah.
You know, even Obama, over. And one day Trump is going to be over. And they're going to have to...
And unfortunately,
And they're going to have to answer for what they did.
Unfortunately, Trump's going to get away with it, but some of these other people are going to experience consequences. I think they're going to be in jail longer than you were.
I agree.
He's going to try to pardon some of them, but you know, there's state crimes.
The state crimes. And also, I've been speaking to legal people on background, and they say if he does go in and he overuses these pardons, they will probably go. It will probably go to the Supreme Court, and some folks, and we'll see what happens with the Supreme Court. You know, I mean, it's kind of stacked the Supreme Court now, but some of these folks may not be, you know, saved by pardons that were handed out before.
Which takes us back to Scott McClellan.
Yes.
He quit. Nobody quits this administration, right? There's no whistleblowers. Like in the past, our government has done bad things, but people from inside said, this is too far for me. This is past my red line. But there's
You mean
something,
now?
Yeah, now.
Because John Kelly quit, right?
Right, now. No, because here's why, this is my theory, that's what I was gonna get to, is that if you signed up for this after January 6th, you basically said, I don't have a red line, right? And I know that he's gonna do illegal stuff. You know, that first group, very misguided. I've said very nasty things about all of them because it was clear to me what his presidency was going to be like. But they thought that they were like putting the bumpers on the bowling alley, and they were going. Nobody thinks that now, and so that's why these guys can go and they can commit crimes, they commit heinous atrocities, whether it be in El Salvador or Iran or domestically in Minneapolis, and the people that have signed up aren't. There's nobody there to blow the whistle. I mean, there's the career officials like the prosecutors we talked about, but of the political people. Yeah. They're all in.
Well, that's why you're right, and that's why I don't believe in the false equivalence that I see on you know, in corporate media now, because we're in a whole new place. I don't believe that you know, you can work with that on that side of the aisle anymore, with the people on that side of the aisle anymore, because there are no levers for them. There's nothing that they won't approve from this administration, and people get upset with me, and they're like, "That's insulting." When I say that many people in the MAGA movement are racists, right? Yeah. And if they're not racists, they had to overlook the racism in order to support this president, or the misogyny, or the anti, you know, or the.
I love that people like don't want you to say that. They're like, oh, don't impugn their motives. And it's like the campaign was literally about how Haitians eat dogs and cats,
and how he was going to deport, you know, immigrants, and it was going to be mass deportation.
That was the campaign.
It was about. But if you had to, I say that a lot of them are racist, many of them, and if not, you had to overlook it. And I think that's even worse, if you can overlook the racism, the misogyny, the election denial, the insurrection denial, the anti-vax, and all. You have to overlook that. I mean, I think that if you know you're racist, okay, fine. Yeah. But if you're not, and you go, I'm going along with it. A lot of them go along with it because of the white supremacy, and that's where we are right now.
Let's talk about the other side. I presume, given that is the type of material that you're offering on the Don Lemon Show, that most of the viewers of the Don Lemon Show are going to be in the Democratic primary electorate. Not all necessarily, but most. So you have a sense of this from your audience. Yeah. Like, there are two things that I'm interested in, like kind of looking at how the Democrats are going to respond to all of this, and things that worry me a little bit about fissures within the Democratic side, because look, emotions are high right now. Yeah. Right? People are fucking pissed. And so when emotions are high, you know, sometimes there's food fights on your own side, right? And there are two kind of fissures I'm looking at. One we saw in Texas, which is like a really racialized, I think, fissure between that Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico primary. Yeah. And then in some of these other primaries, we're seeing it over foreign policy, over Gaza and over Israel, where they're like, one side of the Democratic electorate is, you know, very hostile towards Israel's actions in Gaza, that is their primary issue, and then that there are folks on the other side that are more national security oriented, more, you know, Israel's our ally. Like, among your audience, like, how do you sense those kind of conflicts are going to be resolved inside the Democratic coalition, or are they? It's tough.
It's tough. I don't know that they are. It should be, especially considering the moment that we're in. But I don't know. I think that on the Democratic side, they've got to take, quite frankly, a lesson from the Republican side, and they've got to fall in line. And they have to realize that, you know, there are always going to be disagreements, some of them small, especially small disagreements, because it happens in families. Yeah. And if it happens in families, I don't agree. I love my mom, like, you know, the most, my mom and my husband and whatever in the world. And I don't agree with them all the time.
Yeah, right.
And so we have arguments, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to, you know, I wouldn't vote for them.
Yeah, right.
Of course I would vote for them.
You'd vote for your husband?
Yeah, of course I would. Okay. Yeah, I know.
Not sure.
So, you wouldn't?
I'm just joking. He didn't come to the panel. He stayed at home, so I was just teasing him.
Democrats are going to have to get over the idea that there's a perfect candidate, or that they have to fall in love with the candidate. And I'm not going to say please clap again. So that they have to fall in love with the candidate, and they have to realize, which they didn't during this last election, and I thought that they would, that I compare it to public transportation and having a private driver.
Yeah.
Right? Politics is like a public transportation. Whichever gets you closest to your goal or to your home is what you want to do. And the candidate is not going to drop you off at your door and take your bags in the house. That's just not how it works. It's too many people that they have to serve, and there's so many different ideas in the Democratic Party. But they're going to have to realize that this is the most important election. I don't know if they're going to do it, and what the Democrats should be doing now, and this is what I thought about, and I said, what am I going to stress when I'm with Tim today, is that if you're a Democrat, or if you are a person who's not, you can be an independent or a Republican who has become disillusioned with the Republican Party. If you are anywhere in that, you should start preparing for the election now. You should start galvanizing people. You should start reaching out to neighbors or people you don't even know. You should start telling them, hey, does your identification match what's on your voting records? If it doesn't, you need to go fix that. Because the win has to be so big that there is no question about it. Because Donald Trump and the Republicans they are going to try to steal this election no matter what they have to do. And so you got to get out there and vote. So start now. Today is the day that you're going to the polling place. Treat it that way.
I agree with you. Every time this topic comes up when I'm on Nicole's show or on my show, I'm usually the pessimist. I don't know if you know that about me.
No, not that.
On campaigns, they called me Rain Cloud, and I always said to my boss, I was like, actually, I'm reality cloud. We're losing. Okay, I lost most of the campaigns I was on, not all of them, but most of them, and so I was like, I was Rain Cloud because I was telling you what was happening. In this one, I think it is going to be too big to steal.
You do.
They are going to try. And I worry sometimes that people in that big coalition that you're talking about are too. They're too negative about the trajectory, and it's almost like it leads to nihilism. Like it leads to giving up and checking out, right? If you believe that they're just going to steal it, we're not going to have elections anymore. And what you actually is true, what you've seen in the past, this is not true in very extreme cases like the Jim Crow South, right? But in recent years, when they've tried to do voter suppression, more times than not every time, more times than not, it's backfired. Because it draws attention to it.
Right.
And I was kind of like, when Steve Bannon was out there saying, we're going to put ICE outside the polls, everybody else was very freaked out about that. My message was, put ICE outside the polls. Because you know what that's going to do? A bunch of people who don't usually vote in the midterms are going to be like, fuck you.
Right.
Okay, I'll vote by mail, I'll vote early, I will walk past those ICE guys and give them a big middle finger. And I expect, I don't know, but I kind of think that's the direction we're on.
I think you're right, but what I'm trying to convey to people is that you can do all of those things, and then when you get in there and they say you can't vote,
I agree with this.
Then your vote doesn't count because you can't vote. And so you have to make sure that everything is in place so they can't say, oh, you can't do this.
We saw this in Texas during the Senate primary. Right? It was just we saw this in Texas. They changed the rules. You always voted this one precinct, and they made it harder, made fewer precincts. People were showing up to the wrong place. We saw this last week or 2 weeks ago.
We did, which was, it was an interesting election because there were two good candidates, right? That both had very, positive. Every candidate has positives and negatives, and I think that Texas will be okay with either one of those.
Del Rico, What is your audience like? What has their passions going? What do you think? If you're saying to a Democratic candidate, you're like, I'm not giving you political advice. I don't know. I can only speak for my audience. Here are the things that get them riled up.
Well, you said that most of my audience you thought that they were Democrats or liberals or whatever. I think yes, I'm sure that's a big part of it, but they are mostly people who have become disillusioned with America, not just the political process. And I think it's people, and there are Republicans who watch. And by the way, if you don't agree, I want you to be there. As long as you're not trolling, right? I want you to be in the audience. I put my audience on the screen. If you have a membership in my audience, you can actually be on the show and voice whatever it is that you
risky business. I've been on there with you and some of the audience.
Yeah.
It's nice, though.
But that's what you have to do.
You got to worry about that Jeffrey Toobin situation. Yeah, I asked you this question because the audience is on the screen. Sorry, it's just a joke. Come on, guys, just a joke. I asked you this because the audience is on the screen, though, because I think you're more in touch than maybe you probably were as an anchor at CNN, right? So I'm just curious, like, what are you hearing?
I'm hearing that people want to know what to do, and they feel, as I said, disenfranchised, and they feel powerless and that they don't have agency. So I tried to get them to understand that they do by saying some of the things that I've said now. There are things that you can do. You do have elected representatives who do depend on you for their jobs. So you have to make sure that, and what they don't know, which I tell them, I know this may sound crazy, is that you can, any American citizen can go and visit their congresspeople in Washington. If you have enough resources to do that, you can go to their office and tell them and schedule a meeting with them. Yeah. You can go and talk to them. You can go and bump into them as they're walking back and forth from whatever the Russell building or whatever it is to the Capitol. And most people don't realize that. So you do have agency, but what I tell them is that you've got to vote. You got to vote.
I want to get you in trouble with the Democratic politicians for a second. I think one cool thing about our platforms is that you do get a real sense for people. You get to kick the tires on them. You know, if they're going to come on the Don Lemon show, it's just a little different than it used to be on CNN. You know, a lot of the politicians, you get into your rote system. You're like, I can survive this TV segment. It's 8 minutes. You know, I'm going to do this and that and the other thing. And on internet, it's different. And so I'm just wondering, is there anybody that's been impressing you that they came on and you're like, oh man, they've got really chops, the audience loved them, or then anybody that came on and you're like, boy, they struggle outside of the confines of their talking points?
Well, I think they're learning. The people, I mean, there's this guy on the Bulwark, his name is Tim Miller, but he's okay.
No, I meant the politician. I'm not running for shit.
I am impressed with the younger people who are in the Democratic Party right now, the AOCs of the world, and the Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders has young ideas, right? Yeah. And I believe, Jasmine Crockett and all those people, because I believe that the energy on the Democratic side is in the progressive movement of the party. When you think, if you want people to have living wages, right, or and you want to raise the minimum wage to something so that people can afford to be able to live, that's a progressive idea. But that's like a universal idea. That people should have affordable health care is a progressive idea, but everyone should have affordable health care in this country. We're a very wealthy nation. Look, what is it? I think Elon Musk is worth somewhere in the $800 billion. Right, and so we have enough money in this country to be able.
Even my inner Bernie starts coming out. You start seeing, the amount of money. Jeff Bezos, went from, since he's owned the Washington Post. I don't have this in front of me, but he went from being worth something like 50 billion to being worth 800 billion in the last 12 years. I mean, it's enough to. It's like they're begging for the French Revolution.
It's enough to feed an entire.
Did you see Kai Trump at the Irwan?
Yeah.
It's like the Trump kids are at the Irwan. They're stealing our money. They have crypto
Well, Trump
deals.
is finally a billionaire.
Yeah.
That he's made it off of the presidency since he's been in office just this time, this 1 year.
So it makes sense why the energy is on the progressive
side. But you asked, the energy is on the progressive side, so I'm impressed with those people when they come on. I've been a little bit nervous about the establishment because, and look, much respect to the folks who have been
Has Hakeem been on
leading the party. Hakeem Jeffries has been on my show.
How does he do?
Nancy Pelosi hasn't been on the show, but I saw her recently in person, and I asked all of them, do they think they're going to have a fair election in 2026? And they all say, oh, without a doubt, 100%. And then I go, but I think that finally they are starting to get it and starting to realize that they need to have some fire in their bellies, and it can't be the same old way that they operated. And if someone like an Al Green is a rabble-rouser and creates a bit of a stir, they've got to stand by that person because that's what's going to get the people to go to the polls and vote. It's not going to keep them on committees, maybe, but that's what's going to get them people
I've been talking to my girl Liz Smith on this.
We're not doing Q&A, are we? Are we doing Q&A?
Are we doing Q&A?
Are we doing Q&A?
No?
No?
It's just me. I don't think anybody wanted to hear from the people.
Okay.
They got up at 9 a.m. for bad questions.
No?
Do you want Q&A? Are you sick of my questions?
Oh, no, I was just wondering because, time is running.
We're running out of time. I've got a couple good ones left.
Okay, go for it.
We're going to go through your sex life. E. Jean Carroll, when she was on my show, listed to me every person she had ever had sex with, and it was the most impressive list I've ever heard.
She did?
Yeah. She's had sex with 6 people, but they all were Olympians and there's an Oscar winner. It was an astronaut. I was like,
Wow.
what?
And you?
It was a great podcast.
They
My
don't wanna
list
know.
is larger and less impressive than E. Jean Carroll's. Shit, I did have good questions left, but I forgot what they were now. We got distracted.
I saved myself until I got
You
married.
got distracted. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Good for you. That's because we're at Bookfest. That's because you wrote a book about how you once were lost.
Yeah, I did.
You wrote a God book.
I did.
I was thinking about that. I was like, I have to talk to Don Lemon for an hour. I'm going to talk to him about how we bombed a girls' school, how he got arrested, how we're sending people to gulags, and, you know, that might shake your faith a little bit.
No, it actually strengthens my faith. And I think people, when I wrote the book, it's called Once Was Lost, My Search for God in America, and I talked about my, struggles with grief because I lost my sister in 2018, and then this was after the book. I lost my sister recently, May of last year, and so my two siblings are gone, so it's just me, and I've got to stay around because my mom was like, okay,
Yeah.
you need to be okay. So it strengthens.
Mom's still around?
My mom's still around.
Oh, yeah, where's
my
she
mom
from?
is up the road in Baton Rouge. I said,
gonna
Mom, do you want to come? She goes, No, I'll watch you on the C-SPAN. So
Are you going to go see her while you're in town?
yeah, I'm gonna go see her. But look, I'll go see her. Or look, she'll be at my house this summer for a long time. Last time she was there, I was like, Mom, I love you, but do you have a life in Louisiana? And she's like, yeah. And she goes, well, I'm just hanging out. I said, Mom, you've been here for 7 weeks.
Way too long. I love my mother. That's way too long.
7 weeks. And then she's like, yeah, I guess you're right. And then so she goes,
I'm going up to Baton Rouge for the LSU girls game next weekend. Let me know if I need to check in.
yeah, go say hi to my mom. I'll give you her address. So it strengthens my faith. And I think people didn't realize that I have a faith, and that I had such a strong belief, and that I am a Christian. But I also live in reality, and I understand that there is a separation between church and state. And one of the reasons that I wrote the book is to talk about that, about the erasure of that line, not just blurring that line, and how religious nationalism and white nationalism are not sort of, but they're combining, and they're trying to erase the line between church and state, and that is a very dangerous place to be in, and that's where we are politically right now.
I wonder, this is another thing I think that has hurt the Democrats a little bit. Look, I'm a lapsed Catholic, all right? The Catholics made some mistakes, all right? And it hurts my mother's feelings, and so it's easy for me to say this because it doesn't reflect my life or my experience, but I think that to the extent that there are Democrats or people on the left who are authentically people of faith, I feel like they used to talk about it more. Jesse Jackson just died, and he was very comfortable, more than comfortable, right? Mr. Reverend talked about his faith a lot. And I think that there are a lot of people out there who maybe feel like those on the left are godless or whatever. And it's obviously fake coming from the right. But there's something to be said about, I don't know, I feel like there are a lot of people, particularly older black voters, to be honest, but also Hispanic voters who vote Democrat, who go to church, who have those values and are maybe feeling less seen by the
They are less
party.
seen because they're not quite as loud. The loudest voices will always get more attention, but I believe that those people understand what having faith means, whether it's being Muslim or Christian or whatever. They understand that we live in a country that is religious freedom, so they're not trying to push their values on other people, and they're not trying to use the media and their politicians in order to do that. And so as someone who is a person of faith, and however I feel about abortion, if I don't believe in it, I'm not going to have one, but I'm not going to tell you what you can do because that's what our Constitution says. And so I think that, or however you feel about anything, I don't wear my faith on my sleeve. It's like going around with the Bible and this and that's not what faith is about. And I think those people actually understand even more so than sort of the right-wing ideological folks what real faith means. So what it means to
Rapid fire, we have 30 seconds left. You're a Louisianan, and we're in Louisiana, and I want your favorite Creole dish, your favorite Louisiana musician, and your favorite Louisiana homosexual.
Oh my God! So one would be Tim Miller. You know where that one goes. Or I was going to say Lindsey Graham, but he's not from Louisiana.
No, South Carolina.
I don't want to insult people because there's so many folks here in Louisiana who I love.
You can just say juvenile.
Or Master P, right? Or
Master
something
P,
like that.
Master P.
So I won't say that, but I like Louisiana is so rich, and especially New Orleans. I mean, they're just artists that just like on every corner, and it's fantastic. And the other thing was my favorite
food. What's
dish.
your Creole dish?
So obviously I love gumbo, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. But my favorite thing in the world, boiled crawfish. And so when I went to the reception at the president's house last night,
apparently I was invited to. But
you were invited, but you didn't read your email.
I learned about that.
And when I left, the first place I went, I asked the driver, I was like, you know where I can get crawfish?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I'm going to take you. You guys know where Zara Supermarket is?
Oh, yeah.
I went to Zara Supermarket, and they said, you better, he called him, he says, you guys have boiled crawfish? And they said, yeah, we got some crawfish, baby, but you better get here. You got 10 minutes. We're going to close. I was like, that is going to be some good crawfish.
There we go.
So I went and got almost 4 pounds of crawfish.
All right.
I took them back to my room. I made them give me a bunch of plastic bags from the restaurant.
Yeah.
And I sat in my room and ate crawfish and then called the folks to come get them.
I love that.
I know, so that's my favorite.
Plessis is it for me. Thank y'all so much. That's Don Lemon. He's free. A free man.
Don. Thanks, Tim.
Oh, make sure you become a member. Like and subscribe to The Don Lemon Show on YouTube, on Twitch, on Substack. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.